Also shared, statement from Sami Daku with you about what also transpired. Fortunately, Sami Daku, who is Director of Communications and Strategy at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, joins us on the phone to also tell us what transpired. Sami, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Winston.
Great. So, Sami, this morning we've spoken to Martin Kpebu. He's told us what happened leading to his arrest. He's told us how he got in there and a soldier insulted him. He insulted back. What happened?
Okay, thank you very much, and to your listeners. First of all, let's make some clarity here. Martin Kpebu has made specific allegations of corruption against the SP and the OSP. When a lawyer makes an allegation, the lawyer will typically back it with evidence. But this is an allegation made by a lawyer with no shred of evidence. And all he does is to repeatedly make the allegation with the help of media every time. And as a nation, we've not taken our time to even question him on the basis of his allegation, what evidence he has. The laws are very clear. If you think that you have evidence of corruption against the SP or the agency called the OSP, there's a lay-down procedure you go through. And every time he comes on your platforms and he will tell you he's putting it together. To me, does he want to use 1 year to put together allegations against the SP? Then why don't you wait? When you've been able to put together your evidence, then you can come on air and make the allegations, or you submit it to the various institutions that could look into it. But just to come on radio and every day, repeat allegations, insult the person of the SP, denigrate the integrity of the office, and the same people are expecting the office you are denigrating to work on an extradition for Kenoforiata. You are dragging the institution down with no evidence. People are listening. And at the end of the day, the bad guys are the ones who are very happy. So the OSP, as the primary agency that investigates corruption in this country, decided that let's go into it. Maybe he has some evidence. So a fact-finding committee was set up to go into it. So that's the long and short of the matter. However, he has refused to cooperate. But anytime he comes to the office, he comes with a number of media persons because he's a showman and wanting to do his show. But that is not the problem. It's after when he leaves the office, he goes, and the things he says are contrary to what he says. For instance, you come and say he's cooperating in the office, he's doing this, but he does not. Where in this country can you go to NIB, go to police, and tell them, I don't like this officer, I don't want the officer to sit, to be the one interview me? Hey, who gets that privilege? But at the OSP, we have tolerated all these conduct. He will say, I don't like this officer to be in it. The OSP will change it because we are doing a fact-finding. Maybe he has evidence against the SP that will help to remove the SP. That's good. That's if the SP is corrupt. But we do this for you. The next time you come, you say, these officers are junior colleagues. I won't talk to them, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the officers talking to you are equivalent in rank to deputy commissioners of police. They are not small boys. You talk anyhow to them, you misbehave in front of them, they give you all the cordiality, and you say you answer, they say, okay. Now, eventually, your last trick is that you want the OSP board to rather be the ones doing this interview, when you know perfectly that there's no OSP board presently. So you can see from the pattern that this is a person who is just bent on denigrating the office, bringing the reputation of the SP to disrepute and all that. Then last minute he comes to the office and he extends all these things to officers who are lawfully performing their duties. So if you go to Ghana Police, if you go to NIB, and the officers in charge, men in uniform with guns, directing you to do something. And even if you won't do it, you have to do it respectfully, even as a lawyer, just for the sake of the profession. But you don't do that. You rather hurl insults at them and display an unruly behavior towards the men. If not that these men have been well trained to hold themselves up and to ensure that they do not ever allow any person to have a cause to say the person has been assaulted or done anything, it should have been a different scene altogether. But I want to congratulate these officers for holding themselves and still insisting that he goes through the right procedure and processes. And when you do that in any law enforcement agency, you'll be placed under arrest. So we have to separate his arrest from the fact-finding work that he has refused to cooperate with the OSP. That is different from what happened yesterday. What happened yesterday is because he had obstructed officers from performing their lawful duty. Men in uniform, he did that. And I'm saying that if you do that in any law enforcement agency, you'll be placed under arrest.
Okay.
Even when somebody comes to Joy of Matthew Fondes and start hurling insults at your security man and misbehaving or really behavior, if you have a security man who is well trained, they will place the person under arrest and hand him over to the authority, because Joy won't have the power of, say, police. So if you're asking me, this is the whole idea. But again, because of this coordinated attacks, wanting to bring the office into disrepute, because the office has been biting and biting hard. My brother, let me tell you something. Anytime you find, we know corruption fights back, but anytime you find consistent, coordinated attacks on an office like the OSP, it is not the office that they are attacking. It is the people of Ghana they are attacking, because we are in the midst of many investigations, seizing millions of assets, asking people who have taken so much money from the Republic to return it. And it's biting hard. And you don't think that such people will not put up a fight. And so the bad guys are the happy ones now. And I'm sure they are so happy that, well, the office that is supposed to be putting me on trial, the office that is investigating me, is in itself under serious attacks. And that is all that they wanted to achieve. But the office remains very focused. As we speak, the office is prosecuting high-profile persons, about 33 people standing trial. The office is working together with the Attorney General on extradition of Kenneth Onyata and Ernest Akori from the United States. So, in terms of the work of the office is doing it. But at the same time, the office too want to take the opportunity to carry Ghanaians along and clarify some of these misunderstandings, misconceptions, and then deliberate lies, just to bring the office into disrepute.
Okay. Now, when we spoke to him this morning, he said that when he got there, the officers, the military personnel, one called him stupid. In fact, another said, I will show you those things you've been doing. And so it was not a case of he going there and picking a fight with them. It was because of what they had said. And so it cannot be said that he, Martin Kpebu, got in there and started misbehaving.
If you ask me, I'll place very little value on what Martin Kpebu says, because consistently he has shown that he will not put out accurate information. Let me give you an example. He was on Joy platforms and told Joy that there were 16 petitions to remove the SP. He didn't say that somebody told him. That's why he's saying it. When he was put under cross-examination by KSM on his show, he then said that he heard someone say it on news file. That is why he also said that, and that he was going to add his to make it 17. If you know you're going to add yours to make it 17, why don't you put together your evidence and then you present it, than going around every platform and spewing allegations that you have no evidence to, just to denigrate the SP. So I'm saying, if you ask me a voice account, I won't, because I've seen the variations. And there are a few things that with time we will explain it and let Ghanaians know about it.
Sammy,
the soldiers and the police at the OSP are very professional. Do you know how many people come to the office in a day? And yet, you've never heard anybody say that these officers have been rude to them or these officers have misbehaved. The only person that has brought this up is Martin Kpebu. I'll give you a second scenario. When he visited the officers on the second time in our office, he came back and told the media that when he went to the office, they asked him how many lawyers he was coming with. And that again was a palpable lie. Some of these things, maybe with time we may have to put out videos and all that, but some of these things are very false because when you go to any reception, they don't know whether you are a lawyer or you are coming with lawyers. Those at the front desk don't know who is a suspect, who is a witness. They don't know. You are the first face that is going to process you, but they just want to know how many are you. Maybe we are 3, so that they're able to arrange tasks for 3 because things are arranged in a security manner and they need to follow that. So when they ask you how many are you, you cannot come out and turn it into that the OSP is trying to restrict you to how many lawyers you can come with, and you create a whole scenario that's not true because you think that you have access to platform and that you're going to denigrate the SP and that you are going to ensure that the SP is removed and that you are going to ensure that nobody have trust in the OSP. And I'm saying that these things, it doesn't hurt the SP, it hurts Ghanaians because this is an office with men and women of integrity who have been busy working day and night, even as others are trying to derail the progress of the office.
Yeah, but Sammy, the point that you make about not trusting what Martin Kpebu says, well, for me, the question is, what happened? What Martin Kpebu says, did that happen? It's not to say because of the things he has said in the past, everything he says cannot be trusted. Because yesterday, our reporter who was there actually corroborates some of the things that Martin Kpebu said here. So
what does the reporter say?
Hold on, Sammy. Because the reporter actually makes the point that when he was interviewing Martin Kpebu, and one of the security persons, the officers, came there and said they should leave there, the reporter actually said, but why? We are not within the premises. And Martin Kpebu was actually the person who told them that they should move away. If they say leave, just go ahead and move away. And this is what Martin Kpebu had. Hold on, Sammy. Okay. Hold on. And this is what Martin Kpebu had said earlier. The reporter comes to corroborate what Martin Kpebu has said. I am saying, do you know that these soldiers insulted Martin Kpebu, told him they were going to show him the next time? Because he says that is what led to his response that you are also stupid, and then it continued.
Well, we've had the chance to evaluate the entire scenario. Martin Kpebu was not just placed under arrest because our men told us what happened. There were witnesses there. So your reporter that says that they were told to move away is true. Every journalist who has been every journalist who has been at the OSP premises, the gates, will know that the office does not permit photography or videoing of the entrance or even the building itself, and that everyday journalists have been there. And Elton Bobe, if he was here, will corroborate this, that I think when Madame Sisi Adapa had been arrested, Elton and co were there, and I remember that I had to come out and speak to them that they had to move away from the premises, and so it's always done. The men and women in uniform will tell you that photography is not allowed here, so please move away. So that is a reality. It's not because Joy FM reporter has said it. It's because that's what happens at OSP. At every material time, the law enforcement people will tell you that move away from the building. You cannot have photo. So if Martin Kpebu wants to have interviews and arrest, he's aware and he has been told that you cannot do the interview in front of the office of the special prosecutor. But you can arrange and do it. You can even go and do it at the conference center and invite all the journalists in Ghana that you are entering into the premises of the OSP and that you are not going to cooperate again. You are going to say that you won't tell them anything. You can do that at the conference center everywhere. Then when you are done, you now enter the security building and then follow the procedure and the directions that the men in uniform will give you, because everything has to be done in a lawful manner. You cannot be unlawful. And then we are being told that allow people to be, even if they are unlawful, nothing should happen. There should not be no law and order in Ghana. Is that the kind of nation we want to build?
Okay. Yes. Hold on, Sammy.
Sammy, good morning. So,
yes, good morning.
Yesterday, Martin Kpebu was arrested by the Office of the Special Prosecutor for obstruction. Is that one of the offenses that falls under the remit of the Office of the Special Prosecutor?
Yes, this morning I've heard a lot of commentary on this, and I remember my professor. We've had this chat before, and I know that many of you may be looking at what he wrote. But this is the reality. Look at Section 69 of the OSP Act. In the performance, anyone that is given, it's not just the OSP. This law, these powers, IOCO has, NIB has. So it's a resultant law that is given to any agency that has been given police powers, which is that in the performance of your work, if anyone tries to obstruct you, you can place a person under arrest. I'll give you a typical example. The head of SGSSB, the general manager of SGSSB, I remember that 3 months ago, when we were in the thick of affairs with MEF, and we needed some documentations on Dr. Sledge, one of the suspects in the case. The bank had flatly refused to provide OSP with bank details of their suspects under the basis that they are protecting their clients' confidentiality. We had told the bank that the OSP in its law has the powers to subpoena such documentation without a court order. And I remember at that time, the bank had refused several times, so the OSP officers had to go to the headquarters of the bank, the consolidated bank, to place the CEO under arrest. And I remember they were there to effect an arrest when the lawyer for the bank, I think Thaddeus Sorry, had called me and asked me the basis of what we were doing. We had to go through the law with him. And then eventually he had to tell the bank that the OSP has the powers to do what they were doing, and that what we were going to arrest her for was obstruction of justice. So in the performance of our work, when you decide not to allow the officers to do it, it amounts to obstruction, and the law gives us the power to place you under arrest and to prosecute you for that. But that is not in vacuum. It's in relation to the performance of our work. Remember, we don't investigate murder. We don't investigate traffic offenses. So if you decide to misbehave on the road, and even an OSP vehicle is going, they will not take that as a work of the OSP. They will have to refer it to the Ghana Police Service because they are mandated in law to do it. So in the performance of our work, we've been given the power to protect us to be able to do our work well. Right. So once you try to impede that work, you'll be obstructing that work.
Right.
Even when you are being, like I said, merely by saying, I won't allow you to interview me, we even amount to obstruction of justice. Yes, okay. Merely by saying, I won't allow this person to interview me, I won't let anybody.
But he does have the right not to answer your questions, right?
Yeah, he has the right not to answer, but you don't have the right to choose who should interview you. Ghana Police has invited you. You are telling Ghana Police that you don't want this commissioner to interview you. You want this other commissioner to interview you. You don't have such rights.
Is it true that you were going to keep him overnight?
It's not about whether it's true or not. He had been arrested And again, these are some of the misconceptions, the inaccurate information they always put out. And because they have done this deliberately and consistently over time, and the office does not have the resources and the numbers to always respond and clear the air for Ghanaians to understand, I do agree that there have been some misunderstanding in the public as if the OSP is being unprofessional in the performance of its work. But that cannot be true. I think that what had happened was that he had been placed under lawful arrest. His offense told him and his lawyers, and bail terms set for him. He was only able to meet the bail term at the time the officers were closing. And so once you are not able to satisfy your bail term, then you will have to be sent to custody so that the following day, if you're able to meet your bail terms, you meet it. So that is exactly what happened. It's not true. In fact, he came with two lawyers. One is a female lawyer. And there's a video, which maybe we may have to put some of these in now, where the female lawyer was insisting that she's not going to get out of the interview room and misbehaving towards the officers. And so they had to bring in female officer to remind her that what she's doing is amounting to obstruction and that she has to leave the premises. They had to peacefully get her to leave the premises before they were able to get her out of the premises.
Okay, so Sammy, quickly, now that he was arrested for obstruction, the general expectation, arrested, granted bail, is that he be put before court, right?
That's the general expectation. He's reporting today at 11. I'm sure they will take him through the processes. But again, in this country, Martin Kpebu will not be the first person who has been arrested for obstruction of justice, even as a lawyer. There have been a number of lawyers that have been arrested for such a thing. In fact, we have lawyers that may even fake documents and all that. The OSP takes it through. But prosecution will eventually be determined. But for now, they are going through the process of investigation and all that. So let's allow them to do. He's supposed to appear before the OSP today on such a matter. They are going to continue the investigation. And then, again, this is separate from the job that is being done in respect of...
Talking about the job that is being done. Talking about the job that is being done, Sammy. So tell us, that job that is being done, the fact-finding that you keep talking about, what is the fact-finding about? What are you seeking from Martin Kpebu?
So the fact-finding is a simple job. The OSP has a primary responsibility. Anytime there is corruption allegation, they should look into it. So they are looking into it whether indeed there is evidence to show the corruption allegation is making. That's all. When they are done, they'll put together their report. It will be made known when the work is done. That's all.
When you say you want to find out if there's any evidence in the corruption allegations that he makes, he argues and says that he's made allegations against your agency. How do you expect him to cooperate with an agency he alleges is corrupt in finding out the very things he alleges against the agency?
Again, this is a dead horse we are beating again. I've just told you that the OSP has a primary responsibility to investigate allegations of corruption. It's not just Martin Kpebu. When the head of DVLA made allegations that some people are coming to bribe him, he was invited. The investigation is ongoing as to whether he indeed, there was indeed somebody that attempted to bribe him, who is this person and all that. So this is not just a job that, this is not just Martin Kpebu. This is the work OSP does all the time. Anytime there's allegation of corruption that's come to the attention of the office, they will go into it. It's not about the office investigating itself. And people forget that it's a whole office. There's an SP, there's a deputy SP, and there are divisions. That's why there's a fact-finding mission that's going into it. If there's allegations of corruption, yes, the OSP will proceed on that matter, because the OSP, if Sammy Darko is corrupt, the OSP will prosecute Sammy Darko. If Winston is a public official and working at OSP and he's corrupt, the OSP will prosecute one.
Based on this point, I have a question for you. Under whose instruction are you inviting Martin Kpebu?
Under the head of the investigation unit that is looking into it. It is not the SP that invited Martin Kpebu. It's the one in charge of the investigation. So let Martin Kpebu show you the letter. He will see the one who is in charge of the investigation. The person is the one that directed him to.
Are you saying that Kisie Jabin as of now has no knowledge of why Martin Kpebu is being invited, or has no hands in the invitation extended to Martin Kpebu?
It's not what I'm saying. It's what is the reality. When people make allegation against the IGP and the police is looking into it, do we even ask whether the IGP has knowledge of it or none of it? Because an office has structures. At Joy FM Multimedia, you have structures. And certain things are set in motion and are guided by procedure and law. So once you've done something, if it was something that the SP is the one looking into it, it will be under the signature of the SP. But because this is not the SP, the office is an office that is very transparent.
Is it good?
That is endeared to the public by integrity and trust.
Is it good?
So when allegations of corruption are made, the office have to go into it.
Sami, is it good corporate practice that you have an invitation extended to Martin Kpebu without the involvement of the head of the institution?
Why is it not a good corporate practice? It is a system, it is a structure. When CID invites you, do you say, why has the IGP not signed it?
Okay, so you have this special prosecutor who would then, at the end of the year, be providing us with an official report on the status of all investigations, i.e. invitations, and the progress report that will be signed by him. Are you saying that you can't proceed? To what end without involving the special prosecutor?
I don't understand your question.
Really?
Yeah. Your question is, excuse me to say, I don't understand the logic behind your question.
I'm saying to you, that at the end of the year or mid-year or whatever it is, the special prosecutor is to update us on the level of investigations being carried out by the same office, right?
Yes.
So that means that by the end of the year or next year, you'll be providing us with updates on perhaps some of the fresh cases, ongoing cases, and some issues going on there. That would include Martin Kpebu's case. How would the OSP or the special prosecutor report on a case that he's not aware of?
It's not the special prosecutor that reports. There's a division that's in charge of providing the update. The special prosecutor will give the forward and sign under his seal.
Why would he sign a report he's not aware of? That's my point to you.
It's not about whether he's not aware of. When allegations are made against the IGP and their investigation, it doesn't mean that the IGP is not aware of. What matters is whether the IGP is the one doing it.
I'm not talking about the IG. I'm talking about the special prosecutor here. He has a special.
I'm giving you examples because you need to appreciate it. Other than that, you may be imputing things that your listeners already understand. Probably are not understanding it, and so you may be dragging listeners as well. That's why I'm helping you with logic, because these are law enforcement agencies. Okay. And I told you that even at Joy, if Joy is supposed to write an annual report and everything, yes, of course, it may be signed by the leader, but the details and the work of it may not be done by the leader.
But he is in the know. That's just what I want us to arrive at. That he is in the know. He ought to be briefed, because if you sign that, it means you are approving whatever content there is in it. Anyway, the basis for which I'm asking the question is because of the principles that, legally you can't be a judge in your own court. The former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Okwe, has also raised same concerns. Don't you feel...
Yes, I mean, people have raised a lot of concerns, even about the police investigating itself, about other agencies investigating itself. These are concerns that are raised all the time. FBI investigating itself is always raised. What matters is due process. Have they followed the law? Have they given the person his or her right?
Yeah, but I'm asking, and if I may conclude on the question, I was going to ask the question that you are a lawyer yourself, and so what do you make of that principle? Because clearly you cannot tell us now that the OSP has no idea as to why Martin Kpebu is being invited, and for many in the public, the reason for which he's being invited is because he's made some comments of corruption, as you're telling us, against the head of your own institution, the special prosecutor.
He's not made comments. He has made specific allegations of corruption, and the body with the primary responsibility to do that is looking into it. It's the same principle. When somebody makes allegation against the judiciary, judge, whatever, it's the judiciary that's going to go into it and look in. It doesn't mean that the Chief Justice is not aware about it, even if it's about the Chief Justice. What matters is the safety and the precautions that have been put in place to ensure that the process is fair. That is what matters. Is the process fair? So far, he will tell you that the process has been very fair. He himself will acknowledge and say that the officers have been very professional in how they are handling him, to the extent that things that he asked that should not even be granted, he's granted, because they are ensuring that the process remains very fair without any pressure or undue influence on anybody.
Do you
the person you are talking about and saying conflict of interest is even saying that he rather wants to talk to the board of the OSP. Why doesn't he say he wants to go and give it to an agency totally different because of this conflict of interest you are raising? I'm saying that these are coming from individuals who may be well-meaning.
Okay, I get that.
The reality is that institutions are able to go into matters where they have primary responsibilities.
Right.
What matters is whether the process is fair.
In the end, what you're planning to do is to check the veracity or otherwise of Kpebu's claims against the special prosecutor.
We are not checking veracity of Kpebu's claims.
You're asking him to bring evidence.
Every allegation. Yeah. We are not asking him to bring any evidence. If you're a lawyer, and as he's a lawyer, he knows that when you make an allegation, you must substantiate it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just the responsibility to ensure that corruption becomes a high-risk enterprise in Ghana. He's saying that this is a matter you have made, and they want to go into it and find out whether there is any truth in it, so that they could proceed.
If I may ask the question, let me just land on the question. The question has got to do with what the next steps will be, because if he's making claims and adducing evidence, probably as you expect him to do today, that would involve obviously the name of the special prosecutor. Do you, as an agency, intend to also invite the special prosecutor to put on record what his position is on this matter? And while you dig at that, the concern out there is that we've given so much resources to the special prosecutor's office, and yet nothing's been done.
It's a big one. Hold your thought there. Let me just answer this one, then you move on to the second one. He has made allegations. He has made bare allegations with no substance. So how do you go to the SP? When I say that you are a murderer, then you are saying that me who said you are a murderer, they should just turn to you and ask you, are you a murderer? The person say, I'm not a murderer. But if I make allegations that you're a murderer, you killed Sandra in 2012 at this hotel room, blah, blah, this, and that there's a CCTV camera that might have captured you, then we have a basis to go and look into it and go to you and now put it before you. Please, do you understand this?
I'm just saying to you that if indeed he adduces that
you
evidence,
understand it?
Well, I'm saying that if he had indeed meets that threshold, adducing the evidence, will you go ahead to invite the special prosecutor? And while at that,
it is the work that we do. And once I told you before, any allegation of corruption against any officer, be it at OSP or outside OSP, that comes to the knowledge of the office. We are going to look into it.
All right, Sami Darko, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. Sami Darko is head of communications, director in charge of communications and strategy at the Office of the Special Prosecutor.